YouTube, the time has finally come. Brian Phillips here. We've got the Draco, 2 meter. Mike Patey, thanks for sharing this with the world. Horizon Hobby, thanks for making it for us so that we could also enjoy it. All right, we have everything set up very close to the manual. The lights come on and off with this. We do have a dark flight coming. Not sure if you've seen it or if it's coming next, but either way, here goes nothing. Throttle holds off. There's reverse thrust on this and we will be using it today. Takeoff flaps. Show you some taxiing here. This thing is just gorgeous. Just to show you, it happens. Driving backward is a little bit weird because everything kind of operates a lot quicker because of the angles. That's full throttle. Takeoff flaps. Out of the takeoff flaps. This thing flies so good. Full disclosure, this is our second flight. I love the way this flies. It flies more heavy than the Carbon Z Cub, but it flies really, really good. See the braking on the prop? Takeoff flaps, landing flaps. This plane is just so phenomenal. It balances out great with the 6S 30C 5000 as prescribed by the manual. But this thing would do way bigger and it would do way smaller also. Sorry, camera crew, you're fine where you are. You guys can see that I am in a very, very tight circle here and I am not giving it a lot of throttle. Okay, so it's gonna get you out of trouble. Look at this, guys. See that? That was a stall, okay? Watch this like gentle stall here. There you go, there's your stall. And power to get out of it, flaps off. And here we go. This plane is just rock solid in the air. And it is beautiful. There is no doubt it is one of the prettiest planes we've ever flown on the channel. Takeoff flaps, landing flaps. We're gonna go right over that opening. We'll see if we can stick a landing here, which we probably can. That's so cool, guys. The reverse thrust is awesome. The ground handling is great. Be a little bit careful when you're reversing on that tail dragger. If you get into the wrong spot, sometimes you'll have some issues like breaking off the wheel if you're not careful. The good news is we have a video showing how we fixed it, and Horizon's gonna already send me a replacement, it sounds like, even though I already fixed it. And that's because Horizon loves their customers. They make great planes. They are some of the best to fly. I don't care. There are better planes out there, just like everything else, guys. Not every plane is gonna be a Ferrari. This plane is the Ferrari of Horizon as far as I'm concerned. Bind and fly for sure. Now, that being said, they make some more expensive, more advanced planes that I have never experienced yet. But this plane is probably one of the best bind and flies that's ever been made in my experience. Now, you have to remember, I've only been doing this for about 5 years, excuse me, 6 years. And I started flying little drones and stuff years ago, you know, in the house, little helicopters and whatnot. But I mean, guys, can you argue with that thing? It is just absolutely gorgeous. And let's do some slow flight. People are gonna complain like crazy if I don't do some more slower flights. Let's show them a slow landing. Okay, coming in slow. Right in the elevator, keep it in on the power, and then boom, just drop it down. Okay, so it'll go. All right, let's show you a stall takeoff. I'm gonna just get to a total stop. We're gonna go right to this line. We'll go to the We'll go to the next line so we got a good stopping point. Oh, you know what? How about we do this? Let's go back to the line. Okay. Good enough. Full throttle. It gets off the ground at about 5 to 6 feet. The British chick started talking.
Already?
Yeah, she's so annoying. Man. There's our 5-minute timer. So folks, we flew this plane last night and it was absolutely glorious. It was dark and I was flying it no problems. Let's show them the lights cycling here. Not sure if you're gonna see them, but I'm gonna go ahead and do a slower pass. Take off flaps, about 50% throttle here, coming back at us. Lights all the way off. Nav lights, forward facing, flashing beacon on the front and the back, everything on. If you assign it to the knob, there's this position where all the lights come on, and I would like to tie in that switch so that certain conditions make that happen. Okay, over the vampire killing zone, a little bit of slip here, as you can see, and then boom, boom, just to show you it will handle it. And no, I was not an accident. I meant to slam it down because I want you to see the shocks working. Look how awesome it handles that. Those are the timber wheels as far as I can tell, and they are not soft like an inflatable pneumatic tire. If you had a pneumatic tire in there, it'd be even better. Okay, we're gonna take off. The controllability on this plane is second to none in the world of Horizon Hobby. I have never flown a plane that's quite this solid. Well, that's not true. I've flown lots of solid planes, so I don't wanna go that far. But the Carbon Z Cub, for instance, is a big, glorious, potentially slow or fast flying plane that does everything. This plane is just like that in its flight performance, and yet it's extremely scale and gorgeous. So I'm not saying the Carbon Z Cub isn't gorgeous. Please don't murder me, people. I'm just saying the Carbon Z Cub is a different beast. This is a scale plane and it shows so good. And I'm not talking the 5-foot test like we do on radio controlled airplanes. I'm talking about the 6-inch test. Whoa, buddy. This plane will go for a long time on a 5000 6S, depending on how mean you are to it. And if you're flying in a scale manner, you can supposedly use a 4S. Now, I'm not sure if I'm gonna even play with 4S, but we might show it. I think I got a 4S 5000 that we need to do a flight with. Let's try a premature landing. See? And it gets out of it, guys. That's why power saves lives in radio-controlled airplanes. Just to be clear, we are over our timer. Okay? Camera crew, 4 steps toward the garage door. Perfect. Okay, here we go. So takeoff flaps and going over to the low point and landing flaps. Gonna turn on the reverse thrust so it's ready. Just so you know, the braking shuts off when you go into the reverse thrust setting. Okay, we are 8 minutes, 39 seconds of true flight time. We're gonna go ahead and take off for just a second longer. There's our forward flight. We're gonna show you that again with just a quick circuit. Okay, up in the air. Full landing flaps deployed, coming to the tree line. Right over the vampire killing zone, about 10% throttle, flipping directions. You guys see that? That's the other thing I wanted to bring to your attention. When you reverse thrust, there's obviously gonna be a pitch moment that you need to deal with. It's like basically putting a solid plane up there, because a tractoring prop is not quite as bad as having it actually spin backward. Okay, so we'll show you again with a little bit more success. My experience so far is that you can switch it right on. You can do it while you're flying, no problem. I don't do a lot of it. Takeoff flaps are coming down. Beautiful scale approach. A little bit of slip. Zero throttle, and then reverse. So you can get this thing down in just some amazingly beautiful tight spots, guys.
Hey, you haven't taken off. Oh, you did take off from grass when you were over here.
You want me to land on the grass? Why don't you go
maybe
10 steps
like
over.
Full.
There you go. 10 steps over. Thank you. Reverse. Guys, I think the transition from pavement to grass is almost better than grass, but we're gonna try grass. I need you to go 10 more steps back. Camera crew and I were having a miscommunication there. Okay, full landing flaps are deployed, getting past the trees, and down you go. Okay, we're gonna put it down in the grass in the front. That is just awesome, guys. Yeah. It does it every time. It's just so gorgeous. And that is rough and that is not soft at all, guys. Okay, you wanna step back a little bit? I'm gonna take off here. Just look how good that looks, folks. I'm just loving the way it flies. And yes, you don't have to be crazy with this, but you can be crazy with it. Folks, this plane is just everything they said it was gonna be. And so far, it's everything and more. And I was scared to death it was gonna get out of the box and suck because of all the buildup and hype. You know it's happened to us before in the RC hobby. People build up and build up and build up, and then the next thing you know, it's kind of garbage. But I can tell you this from firsthand experience that I'm probably not supposed to disclose. This thing's been pushed back so much because every time there was anything, an inkling of a problem, Horizon was like, nope, pump the brakes, we gotta get it right. And that is why Horizon is one of the best vendors to work with, because they just do things, they release things right, they don't force things. And so I'm really, really, really happy to be a part of that once in a while here. That was reverse thrust in the air. And yes, there are so many better pilots than I am. Okay, we'll do a no flap takeoff just to show you how easy it gets off the ground. Nice scale looking, bouncy, albeit takeoff. Full landing flaps here. This plane loves to fly with flaps, folks. It's not like you're inconveniencing it. Okay, get your pitch up. And then you can, did you see the grass shoot up? That was so cool. Okay, we are 7 minutes 20 past our 5.
It's kind of hard to explain, like, how cool it is.
There's our dangerously low voltage warning. Okay, coming in. Sorry, camera crew, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but. Okay, here we go. So just to be clear, it is weird when you land like that because it is just something that you're not used to doing for most of us. I don't know if Mike Patey will have better luck with it. All I can say, guys, this plane deserves every bit of hype. 8 minutes and 6, throttle cut is on. And we are at 3.7 volts nominally. That's pretty good, okay? Unloaded nominal, okay? We did all the regular kind of expo settings and rates that we do. Check the build video, radio setup. The unbox build and radio setup will be on a separate video this time. That's something we haven't done for years, but we have so many people that beg for videos of the flight first. So we're gonna release that just a few minutes before, and then this will be released so you can watch the flight first if you want. And then those of you that wanna stick around and see how to set up your new NX8, NX6 or NX10. Now NX6 is not gonna give you the knob. So for 40 bucks more, you get the lanyard, you get the knob, you get these 2 switches, and you get, I think, this switch too. I keep forgetting that one. So it's worth the extra couple of bucks. It's gonna get you by for a lot longer because then you can do almost 100% of every bind and fly that's coming out in the next few years. Whereas the NX6 gets you by because you got that 7th channel that, I don't know why they didn't just call it an NX7, probably because they wanted to sell the NX8s, you know. It seems like a better value if you get 2 extra channels. I firmly believe that they should have just called it the NX7 and got on with it, because a 7 versus an 8, there's a big jump there because of reverse thrust, because of things like light controllers because of weird mixes and, you know, swept wings and things like this. Definitely loving this plane. If you haven't already ordered it and you're waiting to order it from us, we really appreciate that. Guys, I just want you to get one because this thing is awesome. Check the link in the description below. You get this, you can get the plane, you can get the 6S 5000 milliamp hour 30C pack, which is a Gen 2 in this case. And we have just been beating the crap out of these things, and they've been just giving and giving and giving just to show you exactly where things sit. That's where it sits. The Velcro straps work well. They're not the most expensive style that are real thick. They're the thin middle grade ones. That was one thing I was concerned about. Haven't broke one yet. That's always good. Look at how huge this motor is. It's a 400 kV brushless outrunner. And it is a, oh, you can smell it's a little toasty in there. That's an EFL 5060D. So it's a 50 by 65, or 5065.
Yep.
5065D. So it's 50 by 65 millimeters. That is a humongous motor for a plane of this size. But you know what? It uses up the power and it does magic with it. So if you don't have this, if you have an NX6 and you want to fly on an NX6, you should be fine. You can even do your safe select. I didn't even show safe select. We will show you safe select, I promise. But at this point, I am just still loving on this plane because it is so much fun to fly. And you guys know, I mean, I fly them all, you know, all the new ones. And so I love them. I love them. And there's a lot that we fly that they're good enough. And then there's a lot that we fly that are great. And then there's some that are just over the top. And this is over the top. It is so good. Again, thanks to Mike Patey for sharing this. Even though yours is now in the graveyard, we know you'll build something even better and more exciting for Horizon to copy for us in no time at all. So please do that. And guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. You're really helping our channel to grow in a way that you cannot do by yourself. Every time you guys do that, YouTube treats us a little bit better, and that gives us more flexibility for different things we want to do. I want to be filming this stuff a lot more than we are right now. And to be perfectly honest with you, we already put out a lot of content, and the poor camera crew gets dragged into every one of them. She may love me, but she probably doesn't love this as much as I do. So I'm very fortunate to have her. So thank you, camera crew. And thank you to Horizon for this beautiful plane, and Mike Patey for helping them to scan yours and get through that entire tedious process. I'm sure there was a lot of work that went on behind the scenes. Even though we've seen a lot of really good footage from Horizon, there's always a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that nobody ever sees, and it's a lot of work, and we have a special appreciation for you doing that for us. So thank you guys. Come back for more. YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. We finally have the Draco. This is our third video and our fourth or fifth flight. We're gonna fly today on the 7000 6S 30C Gen 2 pack. It is quite heavy with this pack, and I'm hoping everything goes perfectly swell. It's really windy. This plane has been awesome so far, and we are gonna do our very best to give you guys a little bit more of a show on how it works. Throttle cuts off, takeoff flaps down, reverse thrust. As you can see, it gets off the ground, no problem at all. Just flying into the wind here. We'll come back here. Look at the braking on the prop. Beautiful. Very good flying. Handles the weight, no problem. Out of the takeoff flaps. Now. Sometimes it's nice to have a little extra weight when it's windy. Flying into wind right now, just so you guys know, full disclosure. I'm going to turn around and run down the runway here. I love the way this thing performs. We have several different flights filmed. Takeoff flaps coming in. Landing flaps. We can control the lights from the knob on our NX8. Okay, reverse thrust. That is so awesome, but you have to be careful. It will pitch down your plane when you give it throttle airborne like that. So be prepared for it, okay, folks? It is awesome. It's something to behold when you have that reverse thrust at your discretion. Okay, so we're gonna try for a stall takeoff for you with the biggest battery. We'll go ahead and use landing flaps for this one. And we'll come to a complete stop. All right, here goes nothing. Full throttle. Out of the flaps altogether, and we'll put it right back down. We'll try for getting it right at our feet with a nice steep approach. With the wind. And reverse throttle. Woo! Tip savers saved us on that one. I did not want to go backward with my tip savers on the ground. So as you can see, the ground handling is amazingly good on this plane. It doesn't care what surface you're on. Give it lots of up elevator. The shocks work fantastic. I was scared to death with the heavier pack, how it was gonna perform, but it is doing great. These are big bumps, people. Big bumps. Look at that. Just like it would in real life, it is just awesome to behold. Okay, full throttle and off the ground. Near vertical. And then when you chop the throttle, you got braking. Just loving the way this thing performs. It performs in all the different conditions we've tried flying it in, which is up to and including dark. We did twilight with cloud cover. Takeoff flaps coming in now. Look at that beautiful shadow. Love it. Full landing flaps and throttle just to get through that lift. Try a little rough landing here. And as you can see, it does just fine with the big bumps. You would never want to land a real plane with bumps that huge because you'd probably rip off the real gear. Okay, we'll come around and do the same thing. A little bit steeper approach this time, full landing flaps from the get-go, just to show you it will slow down. Maybe not quite ready to land there, so we'll just bring it out here. A little bit of rudder to avoid the flags. And tall grass, no problem, gets out of the tall grass. And folks, it is quite windy. I wouldn't say it's horrific right now. I would say we probably have about 20 mile an hour, maybe 10. 10 more for the gusts. And then when it lulls, we're down to maybe 10. So it is definitely the most challenging flying environment we've tried, short of dark. The dark was pretty well dead calm. I would say maybe just 5 mile an hour gusts, if that. And look at that thing. It'll slow down so good. It will slow down amazingly. And it'll keep turning in sharp, tight patterns without falling out of the sky like you would think it would. There's our 5-minute timer. There is no way I'm gonna respect that because I flew my first flight for something like 20 minutes on the 6S, 5,000 milliamp hour recommended size. This is, of course, the 7,000. It's the largest pack that's available in the Gen 2 packs right now, I believe. Got a little bit of crosswind here, just full disclosure for you. Who needs a runway, right? Over the Vampire Killing Zone. Big gust of wind all of a sudden. This plane just doesn't care. Just to show you, we'll do a nice inside pass by the house. Takeoff flaps on so we do it nice and slow. Heck, landing flaps. Let's do landing flaps. Watch yourself just in case. No problems, guys. There is like a wind tunnel there for your information. All the wind that gets carried up through this bowl comes up there turbulated, especially when the wind's going this direction. Look at that thing getting turbulated around. This is a great example of how powerful this plane is. It just does exactly what you want. Very, very little deflection in the wing. Up against that white cloud, guys. Okay, full landing flaps deployed. Look how tight this thing will do its circles. That is just incredible. Super hard on the airframe. Just almost trying to break the wings off. And just look at this, guys. It is just amazing. Loving it. Okay, I haven't even tried safe. Okay, so here's, I believe that's where we did safe. Okay, so there's safe. So hands off, not even looking. Okay, so there's our bank angles with safe. Just showing you that, you know, we're talking about, it'll do it all. Look at the bank angles you get with safe, and it kind of keeps it nice and level. Okay, so turning around, I do not have zero throttle, full disclosure. I'm about 50% throttle here, full landing flaps deployed and safe. Safe works pretty good on this plane. Some planes safe works better on. This thing is really doing good. So just to be clear, safe, guys. I'm not even looking, okay? I wouldn't recommend that. It's not a good idea. Okay, so out of the flaps, we're gonna give it a little bit more throttle, about 60% throttle. We're still doing safe. You'll notice I'm way high up, and that is intentional. Because when you have safe on, the flight envelope limits your bank angles, or the flight envelope is limited by your bank angles, I should say. Let's try a safe landing, full landing flaps coming out here. We're gonna give it about 30% throttle and just relax into this landing. The wind is at our nose. A little bit more throttle here, about 40%, about 50%, about 60. Watching the rate of descent. I'm controlling my rate of descent with the throttle, and out, and out. Full up elevator, nice safe landing. Only a little bit of minor corrections on the elevator. Once I touched down, I just held back on the elevator to keep the tail from popping back up. Okay, so we'll do a safe takeoff here, full throttle. Look at that, guys. And then pull back on the stick just to get it away from the hay bales if you have those on the way. Okay, out of safe now because I can't handle it anymore. It's too awesome to fly with safe. Guys, this thing just does everything you want it to. And it's almost more fun to fly with this headwind because you can get away with some just highly crazy things. You need to come about 4 steps toward me, please. No flaps. We're going to try to do a put down here. No flaps. Look at that, guys. Look at that. Right in the do you see how big that grass clump is behind us? Let's take off. Guys, this plane just does it. It's like Carbon Z Cub on illegal substances. Not sure if I should say that on an early release. Or should we even call this an early release anymore? It's like a late release. And cornhole, because I know you guys are asking. There you go, you got it now. Guys, loving the cloud cover, really helping us to display the vibrant red paint and decals. Everything is fully legally branded and used with permission, so that's why it looks so very good, because it is basically designed with Mike Patey and his permission, which is just amazing. Thank you, Mike, for sharing this with the world. Thank you, Horizon, for making this available to the rest of us. This is just something else, folks. That was a no throttle pass. Okay, out of power, watch out. Okay, so now you'll notice that I put it down in a hurry. 4 minutes and 57 seconds past our 5 is 10 minutes. I was pushing this plane hard, and I just want to talk about this for a second. I felt like I was losing throttle there, and I didn't know, and so what did I immediately do? I chopped my throttle to nothing, got in a safe condition, and then kept a burst of power to get over the power lines in my case. In your case, it might be a tree, it might be a house, or not a house preferably, but like an outbuilding or something like this. But I want you to see what I did there, because it's really important. If you ever experience that, it can be symptomatic of a sagging cell. You could have a 6-cell pack and it sags, one of them sags out of range, and then all of a sudden you don't have enough power because the nominal voltage drops a lot. So let's look at where we are. Hopefully, camera crew, if you can help me with the shadow. I'm gonna walk over.
I can't see, I don't know.
3.8 volts for each cell. No sagging. It's 3.74, 3.7, 3.8, 3.79, 3.74, 3.75. They're all very good, guys. So this thing should be flying fine. So we're going to go ahead and take back off. By the way, I just want to take a moment to talk about the NX8 display. It is super easy to see in person, even with dark shaded glasses. No problems at all. We've done it in sunlight. We've done it in dark. We've done it in cold, overcast, crappy conditions at minus 14 degrees. Very fast update rate. This display is very good, okay? It does not film great, okay? Just full disclosure. Same thing was true on the LCD displays with the DX18 and so on and so forth. The thing is, if you sunwash those, you'd still be able to see the display. So because this is a different type of display, you don't always get that benefit. Now that being said, I also want to talk about this. Looks like we're about, I would say about 30%, maybe 25% power left. So we're just going to do this because we love you guys on YouTube. Full throttle. Here we go. I am sacrificing the prospect of a crash for you. Go back a couple steps, please. Thank you. Oh yeah, she got juice. Okay, out of the flaps altogether. The AS3X is just rock solid on this thing. I'm just loving the way it flies. No flaps here. Full landing flaps coming in now. And reverse. Woo! That was horrible. Guys, do not give it full reverse if you're nosing over. You will finish the prop off, I promise, with 100% certainty. Okay, full up elevator and reverse thrust. I want to get back to the runway. The backing up is very weird, especially on rough, so be careful you don't destroy your landing gear. There we go, folks. Out of the takeoff flaps. I think I added an extra 2% down elevator correction on this plane, and that was very nice. It has helped a little bit. Our first flight, we did not have that in yet. Okay, a little bit of throttle there. Tractor the prop, we'll just show you without flaps. Look how good this thing relaxes in for a landing. Oh, geez, I didn't even make it to the strip. The reason I wanted to show you that was because when you come in for a landing without flaps, which I don't know why you would do that, the thing will come to the ground. You can keep it in that high angle of attack, and it's still controllable, which is super nice. We do have a little bit of turbulence there right in front of the runway. So we're gonna get back to the runway here. Oh, and then before I forget, it's sunny, so you won't be able to see it very good, but you can see the lights kind of flashing on the bottom of the wing as I get to that range. You can see the nose light shuts off, and then it just goes to the tail lights and the wingtip lights. There is a reverse, there's just lights all over this thing. You're gonna have to wait for the dark video to really fully see it. Okay, again, we're still at a low voltage condition, but we're gonna go ahead and take off flaps from the runway this time. Nice dragged out scale looking takeoff there. And into the power. Having watched a little bit of Mike Patey's flights, I've never really seen him take off nice and scale. Okay, so full landing flaps coming in. Just really having to crab a little bit and cross control to keep things pointed in the right direction. You'll notice that the plane performs a lot better on the grass in terms of the bounciness, and that is a factor of crosswind and a factor of concrete. So we're gonna go ahead and take off again. This plane is just one of my favorites to get up and down. That's 50% throttle, it's not dying on me. Just to show you, 6S will do it, no problem. 4S is supposed to push this thing around at a nice scale flight performance level. I just can't see myself putting a 4S in this plane at this point just because it's so awesome. And you'll notice that we do definitely have braking on. The braking it comes out of the box that way, and when you flip to reverse, there's reverse, didn't change my throttle condition. You'll notice that it's much less efficient. So when you're going forward and you flip to reverse, don't expect similar output in terms of power. It's never gonna be quite the same because your pitch of your prop is designed to go a certain direction, okay? It's not a variable pitch prop, in other words. It's just changing the direction of travel on the motor, okay? Different concept of control. Okay, here we go. Look at that beautiful takeoff. Almost near vertical with 25% in that pack. 7,006S here out of the throttle altogether. Going down, no flaps. Listen to the scream, sounds almost like a sailplane. The antennas are metal. The supports on the wingtips are metal. They are beautiful, beautiful scale features. There are aileron counterbalances that are made of brass, I believe, and then painted. They are not plastic, they are metal. Notice the braking stop. That's one of your telltale signs that you have reverse thrust turned on. If you turn your motor the other direction, you'll notice the braking stops. I want to point that out to you. That's something that took me a couple of go-rounds to figure out. Okay, so we're in forward throttle. We shut off the throttle and it brakes, okay? it brakes. And then when you're in reverse throttle, of course we're not moving so you won't be able to see it. We'll demonstrate that now. Takeoff flaps. Okay, so going along with the backdrop of the clouds, going into reverse thrust out of the throttle. Okay, out of the reverse thrust. Okay, here we go. We'll just go into a final, probably the safest way to do it. Full landing flaps, you'll notice it's barely moving. Go into reverse and it spins. Okay, and then back out. It takes a second for that action to happen, so don't crash your plane on an account of trying to do reverse thrust at the wrong time. You can be going along and change the thrust to reverse thrust at full speed. We'll do that here at a nice safe height. Takeoff flaps deployed, 50% throttle, reverse thrust. It is weird as all get out. I am using reverse thrust. Okay, out of the throttle, got off the throttle stick, and now I'm in forward thrust. Very, very weird feeling. Definitely flyable still. I was going into the wind though. If you're going with the wind and you do reverse thrust, some weird things would happen. I promise you, you might crash your plane. Takeoff flaps, landing flaps, force that nose down. And then we're going to reverse thrust here, and it always seems to rotate the plane about here. We must be picking up that crosswind right about here. Okay, so let's do some back taxiing here. Haha, back taxiing. Get it? Get it? Back taxiing. Camera crew. Sorry, that was pretty lame. So without further ado, here's what I want to say. I don't know if this is going to be the first, second, or third video of the 3 videos, because we're going to compile them together and you'll see all 3 different flight performances in the same Maiden series, if you want to call it. We also going to release our unbox, build, and radio setup separate, which is something we don't typically do. We don't like to do that because people usually, they didn't watch that part, so we figured it would be just nice to kind of put it all together. We're going to be releasing that very early in the morning and just let you guys watch it to your heart's content, and it'll stay up in a playlist all together, and then that will start closer to our normal release time. So hopefully you guys will love flying your Draco when you get it from the links in the description below. You'll be supporting us greatly if you're buying your Dracos through our links. Obviously the NX8 has been great. We're still at 25%. Believe me, we're not done flying. I just wanted to point this out real quick. We've been extremely happy with this. I've been flying this on the bigger pack. I don't talk about this much, but I have the bigger 6,000 milliamp hour pack as opposed to the 2,000. If you get the stock battery, just make sure you charge it when you bring home your batteries for the day, because the smaller battery definitely does burn through quicker. So, and the other thing too is if you're used to the old DX lineup, I think they ran on like an 8-volt circuit, and these run on, I believe, a 5-volt circuit. So you can charge them with your USB micro plug, which is super nice. So if you go and you stick it in your car, most people are going to have a cell phone charger or something like that. So that's super nice. So if you're at the field and the thing dies on you, just go and charge it in the car. You can get it going. A couple other things to think about: the extra channels on the NX8 that really make this worth the extra 40 bucks. Of course, you get the lanyard, which is nice. I had a lanyard from the DX18 that I was using on my NX6. I use a lanyard. Not everybody does. Obviously, we have lapel mics to deal with and things like this. You might not have that problem, but you're going to get your extra trim buttons here. You're going to get your extra E button, and you're going to get your extra rotating knob, or the extra channel as well. So this thing is so cool because you can turn the lights on and off as you're flying. It is just so cool. And obviously in the daylight it doesn't show very well, but you can see them, and it is bright sunshine midday. So I'm just going to tell you, this plane is everything that Horizon said it was going to be and more. I think it got pushed back more than any other product that they've ever released, and they did it for good reason, because every time there was even an inkling of a problem, they pushed things back so they could make it right. And I can respect that, because we review a lot of planes that should not be released. So here we go. Takeoff flaps are deployed. We are at 25%. I'm going to fly this thing not until it crashes, but just before. Full throttle. Guys, just love the way that this thing does. It does everything you want it to do and more. We're going to go between those far trees there through the creek hole. There's our dangerously low voltage warning. Okay, out of the flaps, into the throttle. Full landing flaps here. Remember, reverse thrust. And the wingtip savers have saved us again, guys. The wind, the crosswind, this wing is so efficient. It's got the leading edge slats, which are not only very cool looking, but they are very functional. They're fixed leading edge slats. And the flaps are huge. They work really good. They're Fowler flaps. So there's an air gap. It's like a second small wing, really helps with the airfoil shape. And then there is, I don't know exactly what they call it, but there's a place on the end of the elevators that allows air to go through. I want to back taxi it, but I don't want to break my wheels off. So let's go look at this for a second, camera crew. Actually, I'll just forward taxi. That's what we can do that.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah. This thing just does so good off-road. It's got to be the best plane we've ever had for going off-road, and we've had some good planes for that, namely the Timber. If you guys are into the Draco and you love it, and you just say, hey, that's what I want to progress to, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this is the best first plane, because it is absolutely not the best first plane. This is a lot of plane for you to handle if you're new to the flying experience. If you want to get an easier plane that's almost as capable, the 1.5 meter Timber is an excellent starting point. I would highly recommend that. If you're newer to the hobby and you actually want to learn to fly before you crash your plane, start with the Apprentice 1.5. It's a great size class. 1.5 meters gives you plenty of room. You can see what's going on. And remember, if you get a small plane, small planes are harder to see. A lot of people have trouble seeing. So you can progress easily from the 1.5 meter Timber. The 1.5 meter Apprentice, you can get that as a ready to fly. We have links that are down below. Just find what you want. If you need questions answered, ask us in the comments. We go through painstakingly replying to virtually every comment, at least the first one. We don't usually, once the reply's been made, we don't always come back and reply to the replies, because that, honestly, it would be impossible to do that. So if you have an important question, ask it. If I don't answer it, somebody else will probably beat me to it. But the thing is, we try to get to them within a couple of days, and we've usually been good about that. This plane is awesome. If you're looking at this and you're new to flying radio-controlled airplanes, and you have flown a Sport Cub S, and you've done the Habu, you know, EDF jet, and you are flying in AS3X, you're out of safe, you could totally handle this plane. It is expensive to battery, it is expensive to fly, because it's a big plane, it's expensive. You need to be aware of that. But the radio system is exactly the same radio that I'm going to be using for virtually every plane we have right now. I think right now we have like 20 planes in here. I have about 80 in my DX18. I haven't carried them over just because it's easier to just pick up the DX18, and I still love my DX18. So that being said, this is the middle of the line card right now in the NX lineup, but there's the NX10 and the NX6. The NX8 has been great. It's the happy medium. You get the one extra channel. The NX6 is actually 7 channels. The NX10, of course, is 10. And no, there's not a 9th channel, in case you were wondering, because the 6 had the extra 7th. That was one of my first questions, too. There isn't one. This plane is everything you want it to be. It's great. They weren't just BSing us. They weren't just blowing smoke. This thing is awesome. It does great. And if you get a calm day, it is something to behold. And listening to the scream as it goes by is awesome. It's just as awesome as it is with a sailplane. The only difference is it is a 2-meter plane, and of course you can get a much bigger sailplane, which is really cool. So I would not slope soar this plane because it is so dang heavy, but it is otherwise, it encompasses so many of the awesome parts of the hobby. The scale look of it is huge. I'm a huge sucker for scale planes. The STOL performance is great. The short takeoff and landings, or short takeoff or landings, is phenomenal. It's one of the best that we've seen. I think the Carbon Z Cub might beat it slightly on the performance for aerobatic performance, because it's a lighter plane. Same more or less power size. And plus this thing has the 4-bladed prop, which is not super efficient on the electronic motor side, but it is sure cool, and it is sure scale. In terms of fit and finish, amazing. Went together super easy. Watch the build, it's coming, or it may actually be released. You can watch that. Just follow the playlist and you'll see it right there. And definitely seriously consider this plane. If you haven't, or if you're holding off because it's expensive, it's worth it. Guys, we've had some $600 planes that have come out before, or $550 planes, or $500 planes, and they have been good, but not everything that you wanted. This thing is everything you want. It sells itself once you get it. So do it. Come back for more, guys. We really appreciate you. Best audience on YouTube. Thanks for watching. YouTube, the time has finally come. The Draco 2-meter. This thing is awesome. Thanks, Mike Patey, for sharing it with the world. Horizon Hobby for putting it together. And without further ado, look at these awesome struts. It's so cool. Okay, so we have shocks, 5 of them. Throttle cuts off. Takeoff flaps. Landing flaps. let's do some taxiing here for a sec. Change my mind, let's not do some taxiing. Reverse thrust, so cool. Forward thrust, look at that control. And she's up. Out of the flaps. Flying on 6S, this is a true Maiden. Little elevator trim needed there. Need just a little bit of right aileron. There we go. Okay, so the reason I'm going so far right now is because I'm getting my trims done. Safe equipped. Guys, that is so cool. Oh, look at this. Oh, that is so cool. Shut the lights off, turn it back on. Oh, that is so cool. Okay, so, and look, the braking is working.
That's crazy.
Oh, yes. Guys, it looks so real. It feels so light in the air, and it is not light at all,
No,
okay? Just to show you the cornhole, I knew you guys would want to see a cornhole early. Yes.
Goodness.
Loving the scream.
That sounds so cool.
Man, it feels solid. It feels so solid. Elevator's a little spongy with the takeoff flaps there. Full throttle. Stall turn coming. Oh, yes. Yes. I need to know where you are, camera crew.
Okay.
So I need you to come back 10 steps. Thank you. This is a big plane, guys. Takeoff flaps there deployed, keeping in the throttle just a little bit. Full landing flaps. Let's see how we can do here. Oh, that is so gorgeous. And she'll go straight up, almost unlimited. This is a heavy plane for unlimited vertical. Out of the flaps, those lights are just phenomenal. Takeoff flaps here. We're going to change the lighting configuration to more conventional flight. There we go. Got the beacon on the back. You can get that to go off too. Now we just have our rear-facing tail light, really good for nighttime orientation. Out of the takeoff flaps, the leading edge slats do not make this plane fly funny at all. It is awesome. That's the way I always turn my planes, just like that. The braking works awesome. Guys, this thing is glorious. It feels so good in the air. I've been flying my Carbon Cub 2.1, a little bit bigger plane, but this thing is so scaled. Takeoff flaps and landing flaps coming in just to see how she'll really slow down here. Nice, tight wow. Turns. That's Look at this, guys. Amazing. We're flying about a 100-foot loop here, right here in front of us. Touch and went, and straight up. It's like the gravity defier. Okay, coming around, takeoff flaps coming in. Just, I want to not tip stall this plane, and I don't think we will. Oh, let's look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
That's so cool.
There we go. There goes the lighting. Okay, so without further ado, oh yeah, that's 30% on the elevator, by the way. Guys, just loving the way this thing flies. Let's go up by the runway here. I'm feeling more comfortable with it. It's 5-minute flight timer is what we've got set. Full landing flaps coming in. You good? Mm-hmm. Watch yourself. You need to go to your right a little bit. There you go. Good job. There's the camera crew trying to sacrifice herself for the plane.
I trust you.
Yeah, but you need to be closer to me. I don't know where you are. Thank you. I love the noise it makes. Mm-hmm. Okay, switching the lights just a little bit. I have that on my control knob so I can just change the setting however I want. Ooh, those white lights do help from a distance. Okay, full landing flaps. All right, let's just see what happens when we switch throttle going backward while airborne. Okay, it gets a little crazy. That is awesome. Yes, I did just switch it in flight. Let's see if we can do a landing here. Now, guys, this is my Virgin Maiden, and yes, it is for real. Here we go. Full landing flaps. That was reverse throttle. Just so you know, I was legitimately giving it reverse thrust in the air still on, that's our timer. Look at that thing, dude. It is just not even phased at all. All right, here we go. That is so cool, switching the, oh my goodness, don't do that on takeoff. Full landing flaps. Reverse thrust. Oh man, it switches so quick you can actually use it. I'm just loving it, guys. You guys may have noticed I'm completely disregarding my 5-minute warning. Gen 2 pack, 5000, 6S. Oh man, that thing just got a little bit of balloon. We got to go just probably another 5% on our flap to elevator correction there. Just gonna let it stall over. Oh man, that thing is just glorious. Takeoff flaps only, full throttle. She's still giving it. She's still giving it up. Look at this. Okay, going on the inside, you good? Mm-hmm. Okay, stay where you are. Man, that is a big one too, guys. It is so glorious to see it fly. Lights are great for orientation. It always looks better on camera than it really is. It's getting pretty dark. I can see pretty good right now. I still feel pretty confident. Vampire killing zone, we're gonna drop it down right here. We're gonna go like probably full thrust reverse here. I did not want to screw up my prop. But look at that. That is awesome. Sorry, get back over here, Draco. Get back over here. Oh, it's so weird controlling it backward on the ground like this. It's definitely not something I'm accustomed to. Oh my goodness, this plane is glorious. It is not all hype. I was afraid, I was scared to death that it was going to be all hype and no delivery. And guys, it is everything that they've been saying it was going to be. And honestly, probably a little bit more. We're just going to go out here for a nice, relaxed little hop, skip, and jump. I mean, we're only like 3 minutes past our 5. No big deal. And look at that, guys. You can just grease them in going from the runway, off the runway. That is so cool. All right, here we go. Yeah, don't mind the fact that we are probably 3.5 to 4 minutes over our 5-minute timer, guys. Just kind of showing you a Gen 2. I'm 50% of the elevator in there. I'm just showing you the strength of the wing here. Ooh. This British lady keeps telling me things that I'm ignoring.
She'll learn someday.
No, I'll learn someday.
No.
Okay, getting the lights back on. Guys, being able to control the lights remotely is pretty something. Pretty something cool. Takeoff flaps only. Full landing flaps. Watch yourself. Mm-hmm. Guys, this plane just looks so good. It looks like an absolute real plane in the air. And I think my neighbor is out watching it right now. No, I was gonna say they never come out and watch anything.
The tractoring prop is super cool.
Okay, you ready?
Braking.
Careful, we're gonna try to stick it down. Okay, so just to be clear, I did feel a tendency of wanting to nose over just a little bit earlier. Careful there, camera crew. But that was because I was timing my reverse thrust. But that is phenomenal, guys. I am at 4 minutes and 6 past. I have not been nice to this plane at all. Just to be clear, I just took off again.
Thanks for that.
In case you weren't aware, that's full throttle there. This British chick is going nuts on my transmitter. It just keeps giving. It just keeps giving. This is so cool. Guys, don't do this with your Draco, okay? Don't be mean like I am, okay? Don't kill your Draco in the eagle killing zone there. I'm listening to the signs. I'm listening to the signs. It does take a second to switch the throttle, so just be, or if you're going to switch it to reversing, be mindful. Man, that thing glides just perfectly, guys. All right, we're going to try to put it down again. I feel like we got just a touch of wind coming from our left to right, so we're going to take it this way. This chick is just going to town on talking about all sorts of nothing nonsense. Guys, this is the first time I've flown this plane. And I'm still waiting to kind of sit it at our feet. (104 Fahrenheit on the ESC. That's reasonable too. 108 Fahrenheit. Yeah! That was so cool. Guys, it's getting dark here. I'm barely able to see. And look how awesome this thing is. Oh, you know, I usually do crazy stuff on my Maidens, but this has got to be the craziest I've ever flown a plane on a Maiden. And it's no less basically a $600 plane that's awesome, that I love. And look how stinking detailed this is, guys. We are going to have so many different things that we go over in the unbox radio setup. And you will be able to see some things that you're not seeing today on this Maiden. But we had to get a dark flight. We had to. We had to. Look how good it handles the bumps, guys. Okay, we're 6 minutes 57 past. I think it's time to take off. Oh, that is so cool. Oh, my goodness. Just call me guinea pig. Okay, here's our lights. Okay, we got the full suite of lights here. We're just really getting crazy now. We are 7 minutes 17 past. You can idle along and just take your sweet time if you want. Okay, about 4 steps back for me there, cam crew. Perfect. Okay, full landing flaps coming in, going over the vampire killing zone. I want this thing stopped on a dime. Here we go. There we go, guys. It can be done, even by a layman. That is phenomenal. Okay, camera crew. I'm only 7 minutes and 54 past our 5, so that puts it at 13 minutes of flight time on a 6S. 5,000 milliamp, 30C. Balanced out almost perfectly right in the tray, about the only way you can stick it in the tray. And yeah, guys, it is everything they said it was going to be and more. And yes, I have had this plane for a few weeks now, and some of you are screaming saying, and you haven't flown it? No, we haven't flown it because we couldn't show the videos early enough. So we've been waiting for the perfect opportunity at weather, and we have just not gotten it. Period. We didn't get it. The formation flight with the P-51s was the last time we had good weather, and that has been in real time like 2.5 weeks. So it's been a while. We're almost at, actually more than 2.5 weeks, because that was a Friday, and this is now Thursday. So I'm just looking at this thinking, how has this thing been sitting on my kitchen island built for a week without me flying it? You know, I'm only 8 minutes and 57 seconds past. Are you going to take off? You're crazy, Brian. You're crazy. Okay, full landing flaps. You guys see the dip when I get out of the throttle? Oh, that looks so stinking cool. I don't even know if you guys are going to see this at the beginning or the end of the video. That is a rough spot in the yard, folks. Okay, I don't think they're able to see. I'm at 9 minutes 43 past.
Yep.
So that would be 15 minutes of not full flight time, but you know, if you want to call it flight time, let's just go off-road here. You know, why would we be on-road? That's really pretty lame with this plane. Man, those lights are awesome too. I love that you can change the settings so that you don't get blinded. By the way, those are big bumps. Let's show them how big these bumps are. These are not small bumps, folks. Look at my boot. I wear size 13 boots. Look at this. That's huge. Those are big bumps. It's not like small bumps. This is nothing, and this is, you know, it's coming up halfway up my boot. This is a rough area. And look at that guy. That pilot is glowing. Why is he glowing? Show the people. Oh, by the way, throttle cut's on. By the way, oh yeah, the instrument cluster. Come down here and show them from in here. Oh, well, we'll just pull this off real quick. And then, oh, I need to get to the transmitter. Oh, a receiver. That's kind of handy. Or if you have luggage to put in there. Yeah, totally awesome, guys. It's details like this that everybody always says everybody should put on every plane, except they never do. I mean, this thing is feature-packed. It has every toy, bell and whistle that you thought that they should have put on every other plane. Of course, it'd make every plane $1,000. This plane is so detailed. There's so much cool stuff going on. And this is not just smoke and mirrors. I'm going to tell you that, guys, right now. Because there's many planes that we review that are standard, good flying, solid planes. This thing is all the stuff that they were promising and more. Because I was seriously concerned that I was going to get it out of the box and I was going to fly it and say, oh, great. But it's been exactly the opposite. It flies as good as it looks, and it looks really good. And I mean, it's been sitting, you know, on our gigantic island, okay? And it's been kind of like taking up tons of room with its friend, which I'm not going to mention because I'm not sure how things are going to release. I'm pretty sure you guys are going to see that first. But in fact, I'm just going to say what is it? It's the Fox 2.3. And they have been overlapping wings. And they look so gloriously scaled to each other. It's so cool. And all week long, we have been tripping over these things since Friday night of last week.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. So anyway, all I'm going to say is, guys, this plane is the real deal. It is not just a marketing gimmick. I was scared to death it was going to be exactly that. And look at this thing. This is definitely not a gimmick. It is a real good flying plane. We are at 12 minutes 27 past the timer. Oh yeah, let's just take off. Why not? Why would we not take off? That was no flaps, by the way. Okay, 99 degrees Fahrenheit. That's really important information, British lady, thank you. Full landing flaps here. You good? Stay back. Guys, first time I've flown this plane in my life today, and look how good it's doing. I mean, I'm not some like professional pilot here. I'm just a dude that does this on YouTube, and you know, I do fly a lot, but I've never flown that plane before in my life before today, when I rushed home from work to catch the sunset that didn't manifest itself. It just turned into darkness. So anyway, we've got this thing tied on here. Look at that. That is just so cool. Look at that. It's obnoxious and awesome. I love it. Cool. Both, all at the same time. Let's shut the lights off. Let's do a little dark taxi for the people.
Would you like to check the battery?
Oh, you want to check the battery like from here, you mean? Why don't we do that? Let's go ahead and check the battery. We're only 13 minutes past 5, so that's 18 and a half minutes. No big deal. The receiver's at 6 volts. That's good. Receiver's at 6 volts. The ESC doesn't seem to be screaming too much. We still got some power left. Looking good there. Oh wow, look at that. I don't know, that seems like takeoff time to me. Let's get those lights going. Here we go. Takeoff flaps. Here we go. Here we go.
It would be fun to fly this again, maybe.
Oh, you're suggesting that I'm going to crash because of that?
Not because of that.
Takeoff flaps? I just like landing this way a little bit better when it's dark like this, because I feel like I have better control. Guys, this ESC is sized perfect for this thing. Okay, we're going to do some reverse thrust, so be out of the way. It gets a little squirrely when you're backing up. It's so weird to back up. Some of you more skilled pilots will have absolutely no problems with that. It is rock solid on the ground. All right, guys, so it was getting so dark, we couldn't hardly see ourselves, so we were afraid we were losing enough light that you couldn't see the video. So as you can see, so far, just amazing performance out of this plane. We never got in a situation where it was basically wanting to lose enough power to fly, which is just exactly what you want out of a bush plane like this, because you're going to push the limits. I guarantee you will. And everything about it has been just phenomenal. It's beautiful. It does everything that it's supposed to do really well. Let's show them real quick inside. Okay, so we have the 6S Gen 2 30C pack. Okay. You can see it's positioned in there, right where it kind of needs to be. I'm going to pop that out right now just so we can take a look at it. We have to date been just getting all our telemetry data from here. We're at 22 minutes past 5, okay? Obviously, 5 minutes is way less than you're going to get out of this because we were not being easy on it. I would say that you could, I mean, first of all, you don't need a timer. Just set your voltage alarms, the audio events the way you want. And otherwise, oh, did we say we wanted just a touch more on the flaps? That's right, we did want just a touch more down to elevator correction. So we're going to go like...
Well, you said like 5% maybe.
I'm not a big fan of that alarm when it interrupts you. No, 5% is probably too much. So I'm going to go to just 18 from 16. Okay, that should be plenty. Obviously, we can't test it right this second because it's just dark now. So let's go ahead and pop this battery out and just kind of visually inspect it, make sure everything is looking good. Okay, so we got that popped out. And then the Velcro was okay on this. It's kind of the thinner Velcro. Can you show the people what I'm doing here? If you can kind of come over this side here. One of the issues we had with this model was just they don't have a removable tray. So if there's something you have to hate on this model for, that would be it. Okay, that's pretty much the only thing so far. These are the mid-grade Velcro strips. They're not the most expensive. The nicest ones that you can find in the planes are a little bit thicker. They're about double the thickness, but they're ample. If you go a whole lot thicker, you might have trouble getting a bigger pack in here, is what I fear. So at this point, I'm not upset about that. It seemed to hold okay. The pack feels good. It's warm, but it's not like crazy warm. You want to show the people at home? What do you think?
Yeah.
It's warm.
It's warm, but
it's not like flying a jet, okay,
no.
with an EDF where it's hot. The tray feels okay. You know, the funny thing is the tray almost looks like the Carbon Z-Cub tray, but this one is just, you know, right here. Okay. So really like the way that this plane has worked out. Obviously the G2 pack, let's plug it into the charger.
It's right there.
This isn't going to do us any good without an adapter, unfortunately. Right. So we'll grab an adapter. You need to have an IC3 to IC5 adapter to do this with the XBC100 battery checker. So this will give us a little bit more information. So this is Gen 2. So it says 5% left. I would say that that's probably about right. Okay. But it says critically low because of this last cell that's at 3.48. Okay. So let's go ahead and unplug this. I'm going to show you why it's so nice to have a Gen 2 pack. Okay. This is one of the very best details, is it will literally take care of itself. Okay. That's all you got to do is plug it in. There you go. It's at 8% already. It's going to build up the charging rate slowly until it gets up to the rate that I have set it for, which is 5. I try to charge my packs at 1C. And that's served me well over the years. If I'm in a big hurry, I might charge them once, like however fast I can get the charger to go, which I think this one will go up to like 20 amps. So it's pretty fast. That being said, this battery is kind of hot. I'm going to be nice to it and actually just let it cool down and leave it on this granite surface. Super happy with the Draco, guys. If you haven't already bought one for yourself, you should be thinking about this. This plane is great. I would definitely check the link in the video description below. Let's come over here and show them just one more time how beautiful this thing is. I am just super excited. I can't wait to get a couple more flights in. There's just not a detail that we left out of the unbox build radio setup. So I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but if you want to stick around, we're going to be having that video. I think we're going to do it a little bit different this time. We're going to show a couple of different flights, and then all you have to do is just click the next video. It's already available and ready to go, and or it's just going to continue in the same video like we've done in the past. But the videos get so long or retention is bad, and YouTube tells us that we should work on the audience retention, which means either you can all watch 3-hour videos or you can watch the flights all the way through and then switch to the other one when you want to pick out the radio setup. We did use the NX8. Previously, I've been using the NX6 and just been very, very happy with this. It's been every bit as solid as the NX6 has. We've noticed one kind of interesting, I don't even think it's a glitch, but I want to show you because I've had it come up on a couple of different questions. In flap mode, and we brought this up in the radio setup, there is a speed setting here. Normally you would set that to 2 and it'd be done, right? Well, now you can set it in all 3 positions, okay? So see what happens? It looks weird and people get freaked out by the way it behaves because they don't set all 3 speeds. But what's really nice about that is you can actually, and I still tend to think it might be actually a glitch, but you can set the range to operate at different speeds at different settings. Okay, so for instance, if you had a sailplane and you wanted to be able to pull your flaps up quickly when you come in for a landing, but you want them to go out slowly so that you don't have a big balloon, then you can set it on the one setting here. You can set it to be slow, and then you can set it on the way back so it's normal. Okay, so it goes down slow, but then it comes back fast. So that would be a fast act. You can see the flap there. Goes back really quick, okay? So that's one thing you could do. I'm not suggesting that you necessarily need to do that. I would just set all the settings to the 2-second or whatever, however many seconds you want it to be in the meantime until they release some sort of guidance on that. I suppose they might fix the glitch, but I kind of hope they don't because now that I know it's there, I've been working with it. So other than that, love the radio system. The Draco's great. Mike Patey, thanks for sharing the plane with the world. It has been a blast to fly the one flight I've had, which was like
almost 20
18 minutes of actual flight. I would say most of it was probably on and off the ground, but that's totally cool. And by the way, that was a dark flight too. Flying in the dark is actually a lot harder than it looks because you can't see stuff as good. And I didn't even crash into any trees.
No.
So I don't know, for me, I feel like that's a victory. Anyway, guys, come back for more. I don't know if we're gonna have more flights in this video or not, but if we don't have any more videos, I promise you, if there's no more right after this, we promise we're gonna have more Draco footage. We're gonna have daylight footage. We're gonna try to get some sunset stuff. If we can get a beautiful sunset and hit it there, we'll do that too. But this plane is definitely worth the extra footage, and it is a great, great plane. It's got all the features you want. Check the link in the description. Get yourself an NX8 at minimum. If you want to go real crazy and get an NX10, an IX12, or an IX20, this would be the plane to do it with. If you're a full-scale pilot looking to buy this as a model, you know, that's cool too. It does have Safe Select. I didn't even demonstrate it. That's how into this I was. Safe Select is gonna, when you let go of the sticks, it's gonna automatically level. So it's gonna really give you an advantage, but still, guys, this is probably not a first plane. You can try it if you want, but I can attest to the reality that this thing is big. It's gonna be expensive when you crash it. So I would recommend, you know, learn to fly and then fly this. But buy this now so you've got it. And then what you can do is you can get something easier, like the Apprentice 1.5 meter, or you can get an Aero Scout or something like this. Learn to fly. You can buy the exact same radio if you decide to, or just get the Ready to Fly, learn to fly, but order this sucker, get it in your house, get it in your possession, have it ready to rock and roll. And by the way, bigger batteries, more money, more expensive chargers. That's why I recommend start with something easy, learn to fly, get yourself a copy of Real Flight if you really want to get serious, and you can fly every day it's windy, and you can crash hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of times before you bring this thing out and figure out a way to crash it. So I can tell you though, it flies good. It's a good plane. It's not a hard flying plane, but I also feel like it's so much more to break than the Timber. The Timber is very solid, very light. This thing is heavy, but it flies good. And you wouldn't expect it, because the first time you pick it up, you're gonna be like, how does it do that? It does it with a humongous motor and a big prop and a really good ESC and a big battery. So this might be the time to get a Gen 2 pack, because I don't know if the Gen 1s are going to perform as well. We'll try to get a flight with that. Maybe we'll throw a 50C Gen 1 in there just to see how it does. It could easily chew through 100C. You don't need it. That was a 30C that we just ran, and I didn't feel like, I mean, you saw we were doing almost unlimited vertical into some stall turns and things like that. Didn't have any issues. So I know you guys like it that we bring you the no BS review. This thing is the real deal. Definitely get one. Come back for more.